Hello and welcome to the Prisma ORM Query Fundamentals course. My name is Xander. This tutorial is part of a whole course playlist, which you can access for free on YouTube. For deeper learning, the extended course is available for purchase at Udemy. You'll find all the resources and links in the video description. Don't forget to subscribe for weekly promotions, discounts, and Udemy course giveaways. In this tutorial, I did fragment the Prisma schema build so that we can focus on individual elements of the schema. I was hoping that you would, after each tutorial, try and apply that knowledge to start to build the database that we have been working on throughout this module. Now I wanted to recap and to take you through the complete Prisma schema that I've now developed based upon the ERD design that we've been working on throughout this module. We'll take a look at every single table, and at the end, we'll go ahead and try and migrate it to the database. Okay, so first up, the category table. So here in the category table, we have a self-referring foreign key. So this enables hierarchical structures to be created within the database table. This table includes unique fields, so the slug here is going to be unique. You might also like to apply the name. So we want to have unique category names as well. So I'll quickly apply that to the category. So we're going to have unique names and unique slugs. And we have an isActive Boolean field, which is going to by default be set to false if we don't supply it when we add a new category to this table. And then finally, we have a level, which is going to be set to default 0. Now, the whole point of this level is to add metadata related to the hierarchical structure that we're going to build. So what we can do here is just add some additional metadata. So if we're going to create this hierarchical structure, so let's say we create this first category, category 1, and it has a name of TV. So this is a parent category. So this is level 1. So if we're going to create a hierarchical structure, let's imagine we wanted to create a new category called Sony, and that's going to be then connected to this first category, this parent category. So we reference the foreign key, so we reference the primary key in the foreign key field of this category to build that relationship. And then what we can say is that now we have this TV, and then we have this subcategory called Sony for Sony TVs. So we can now say that if this is level 1, we can now add some metadata and say this is a level 2 category. And this can sometimes be useful when you're managing and querying and trying to organize categories programmatically, maybe within your application. Okay, so because we have established relationships between category and a self-referring foreign key, as well as products, we have two references here to the reverse relation to both the category table, self-referencing, and the product table. In addition to that, we are using relation names. Remember, this can be useful when we use self-referring foreign keys, but it isn't necessarily always required. Prisma can sometimes self-determine the relation that you're referring to, but in some scenarios, i.e. self-referring foreign keys, that might not be the case. So we supplied the same name in the relation to the actual forward side of the relationship, if you like, from the parent side of the relationship. So just make sure that you match up the relation names if you are using names in the relation. So in addition to that, we also have @map, which allows us to define the name of the table when it's created in the database. Okay, so here in the promotion event table, we have our primary key as per normal, but what we also have here is attribute declarators or field attributes. So we specified unique for the name to be unique, but here we wanted to use a varchar and specify the maximum length. By default, Prisma doesn't provide that option. So this allows us to map to a specific database type. In this case, it's Postgres database, and this is going to be a varchar with a maximum length of 50. Now we can do this for just about all the fields that Postgres provides if we don't have the default fields provided by Prisma. So for example, here the date time If we wanted date or time, we would need to perform the same sort of operation to specify specifically the date or time field that's provided here in Postgres database, because we are connecting this to a Postgres database. Right, so we have price reduction, which is an integer, and then we go ahead, and because this is connected to the product table via a link table, we specify the relation to the link table from the promotion event side. All right, so let's take a look at the product. So this is the final product. We have the primary key, we have a foreign key to category defined. We have some additional specific database types used here, varchar again, specifying the maximum amount of characters that can be stored in the field. We have some additional defaults. We're using default now. Remember, this is used to automatically or automate the process of creating the date time data for this create at field. And we have updated at, which will automatically create the date time data whenever we update a record in the product table. Now here we use the decimal field. We're able to specify the maximum amount of numbers to store in this field, as well as how many decimal places should be included in the data that we store in this field. Now this table has multiple relationships. So a relationship over to the product promotions. So we had to supply the reverse for that. We have a relationship over to the stock management table. So we supplied the reverse relation for that. And then we also have a relationship to the orders table. So we specified all the reverse there and specified the name of the table. So here we have the link table that we've explicitly defined. Of course, like I mentioned previously, we can allow Prisma to create that for us, but we've done this explicitly because in the future we might want to add some additional fields. So it's just going to make it a whole lot easier for us to define this now. So here we can see we have foreign keys, 2 foreign keys over to the corresponding tables that are connected via the many-to-many relationship. And then we also set the name of the table. And then we have stock management. Stock management has a one-to-one relationship. So we add the foreign key and make sure that the foreign key is set to unique. That's important. We have quantity set to default 0 if we don't supply that. And last checked at is a date time field. So I have changed that. So we have to manually add that in. We need to remember that when we go ahead and query. And then last of all, second from last, penultimate. No, it's not. Okay, for the user table, the user table has a one-to-many relationship to orders. So we've added the reverse to the order table, as well as some additional specific database types, and then move over to the order table. So primary key, we have a foreign key over to the user table, and created at, we've seen this, and updated at, which is automatically created and inserted when we add records, and that has a relationship to the many-to-many to products. So we add a relation from orders to the order products table. That's been added, and then finally the order product table, a link table between the orders and products, because there is a many-to-many relationship between these two tables. 2 foreign keys, primary key, and there we go. That's about it. We do have the additional quantity field there in that relationship table. So I think that covers all the fundamentals of building Prisma schemas. So let's just make sure we delete the migrations in Prisma. I have deleted any containers. So let's just go through the process once again of migrating this. So we'll go ahead and Docker compose up. You don't need to build, but I always specify that just to make it more generic for you in case you haven't got the images. And then we go into the Docker container, and don't forget, we have all the information in the commands file here. So you can just copy and paste in. So once we're inside the container, we go ahead and make our migration. And there we go. So we've now migrated that over to our database, and we have the migration file set. And we're now ready to move to the next tutorial, where we will explore Prisma Studio, which allows us to actually visualize through the UI provided, which doesn't allow us to visualize, it allows us to see through the UI the database tables and potential data that we have in our database.